Hello, everybody. Welcome to King Shit Talk. I am your host, Salid, and we're going to jump right in the swimming pool and see who's going to drown and who's going to float. Thank you all for checking back in with me. This month we were doing unsolved cases, and we have another case that we have this week that was very, excuse me, very surprising to me. And what surprised me was the way that it ended. And I'm sure you guys will be surprised as well. Um, Last week's we started getting a lot of info toward the end of the show that was very helpful. I have a lot more information with this week's case, so we should be able to get the fire cracking in this fire pit immediately. Um, Before I get into what the case is, while I was researching for this week's case, I ran across something that was a bit troubling to me because I'm a father and I have sons and daughters, but this particular situation kind of hit me in the heart because there's a girl from Colorado, and I'm probably gonna butcher some names tonight, y'all. I'll go ahead and tell you that now. But her first name was Aarone. Not gonna try to pronounce it Aaron. I get no. Last name Thompson. Well, she went missing. She was 7 years old, almost 8 years old when she went missing. And she went missing on November the 14th in 2005 from Aurora, Colorado. And she was a black female and she was born November 30th, 1998. Now that means that she'll be around 24 years old right now. Now they only had three things on this girl to, describe her and to put it out to the public for her. And those three things were that she was 4 feet tall, she weighed approximately 60 pounds, and her top right canine tooth was missing when she disappeared. Now, I always tell people to keep the faith, to have hope, to press forward, to believe in themselves, believe in things that they hold dear to them, and to never stop. And this was one of those situations. It just made me think about how I would feel if my 7-year old daughter came up missing. And it's been 24 years. And I've heard of situations where, after a long period of time, people surface and show up and they find them and things like that. But I just don't know where my hope meter would be if something like that happened to me. So in your spare time, if you guys want to look up that story, her name was first name Aarone, last name Thompson, and it was out of Colorado. But let's get to the unsolved case for this week. And I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, this case is not going to sound unfamiliar, being that there are a lot of people that have been in situations like this. But the I guess the part that smacked me upside of the head is that it's still unsolved. Because when I tell you all of the information, all of the evidence and things that they collected for this case, you may feel the same way I did with the how in the world, is it unsolved? How is no one arrested. Now, before I get into it, let me thank everybody that's watching on Facebook, everybody that's watching on YouTube, those that will be listening on the podcast streaming services. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Let's get into it. Now, this woman, well, first off, let me tell you, the case comes out of Wamego, Kansas. If there's anybody watching from Kansas, um, you'll know that I probably pronounced that wrong, but it is what it is. Her name was Shannon McKeeman Shebutz, Chebultz. This woman was 45 years old. And let me tell you what happened to her. Then we'll get into the meat of everything that I got into, and you guys will see why it was so confusing to me, why it's still unsolved. On September 6th, 2015, Miss Shannon was found lying in the road, bleeding from the head. She was riding in the car with a man by the name of Travis Quigley, who was 39 years old. And I believe I told you guys that Shannon was 45, but if I didn't, there's that bit of information. She was 45 years old. She was riding in the car with a Travis Quigley, who's 39 years old. Now, it says that to this day, Travis refuses to speak with any media outlets, and the county attorney reviewed the case and decided not to press charges on Travis. And they also said they won't pick the case back up in the future at all. And the reason is because Shannon is dead. So we'll get back to that. But remember that part. They will not open this case back up because Shannon is dead. So that means this unsolved case is going to remain unsolved forever. Now, Shannon had an on and off again relationship with Travis. It included reports of violence, according to her mother. And at the time of her death, Quigley was due in court to face domestic charges. Now, let's stop there for a second. The mother said that Shannon and Quigley had an on and off again relationship. It was filled with violence. It was filled with fear on Shannon's part. Her mother didn't like him. Shannon's kids didn't like him. But Shannon kept going back to him. And we know a lot of situations like that where women are being domestic violence situations. And some of them, it's hard for them to totally detach from the person. But keep in mind that when Shannon died, Quigley was set to go to court for these charges, I think a couple of weeks after she actually died. Robbie said Travis got connections. We'll see. We'll see. By the time we get to the end of it, we'll know, what kind of connections he actually had, or if he has connections at all. But let's go on. The mom told Shannon when she got back with him. Now, this is the part that made the hairs on the back of my ears stand up. The mom told Shannon when she got back with Quigley that she would be she would be putting her in the ground in 6 months. When she got back with him the last time, the mom said, we will be burying. Darn, why can't I say that today? We will be putting you in the ground in 6 months. And Shannon actually died 4.5 months after her mother told her that. Now, her and Quigley were together for 8 years total, but the final 3 was when it got rocky. They said they had a pretty good relationship for 5 years. And then for whatever reason, those final 3 years is when she had the most problems out of him, where he was beating her, calling her out of her name in front of her children. And she really started fearing for her life. So she went and got an order of protection, all of that good stuff on him. And apparently, I may be getting ahead of myself, but apparently she went back on the order of protection. I believe that's what I saw. And that's when they got back together that last time. But in March of 2015, Quigley was charged with several counts of violence against Shannon. The complaint claims that he used a bullwhip and a rubber mallet to beat her. I don't know if you guys know what a rubber mallet is. I think we all know what a bullwhip is, but a rubber mallet is like a large hammer, but it's made out of rubber. So he was beating her with the mallet and also cracking the whip on her. So this is when she started going to the police, filing the reports, doing everything that she was supposed to do to try to protect herself and her children from the things that he was doing. Now, her mother, her father, and her kids all begged her to leave him alone. They thought she finally would when she got the protection order. She withdrew the order on March 15th, 2015. So she had the order in place and she withdrew it on March 15th. Now, these are some of the exacts that they know about this case when it comes to her and Quigley. At 4 p.m., the call came in, and this is September 6th. So she withdrew the order on March 15th, and on September 6th, she was dead. 4 p.m. is when the call came in. Quigley was actually at the scene when cops arrived, so he was there. The police said that they found Shannon beside Quigley's truck. He didn't say why she was on the ground. He didn't say um, how she got there. He didn't say what was going on in the truck. From what I gathered, he didn't say too much of anything. Let me see. Yeah, she was found beside his truck. He didn't say why she was on the ground. Now, they're saying, and this is the police, they're saying that she fell out of the truck while moving and she died due to Quigley's negligence. Now, anyone that has watched Law and Order, CSI, Cops, First 48, any of those, you know that with what I have just told you, forget uh the physical evidence, DNA, all of that. Just think about her already having papers out on Quigley. Papers are already out on him. Even if she took the protective order off, you would think that with police looking at this, the way it was set up when they pulled up, a woman is on the ground beside your vehicle. And when I was reading, it went into graphic detail about how she looked when this was going on. Uh, her head was, you know, grotesquely bashed in. There was an enormous amount of blood, and she was laying right beside the truck. Now, just with that info, you guys know how that probably would have went. Travis would have been the number one, if not the only suspect in a situation like this. There would have been an arrest. they would have did their due diligence with um testing, and like I said before, the DNA, the swabs, all of that stuff. That's what should have been done anyway. But my research showed me that they did none of that. They just they were going to charge him with the crime, but for whatever reason, they decided not to. Now, check this out. The family, her mother and father were saying that they knew because the mother got a call from the police, and she said as soon as she answered and they said, "Hello, this is the, Colorado Police Department." She said that the first thing she said was, "Is Shannon okay?" And when they said, "We're sorry to tell you, no, she's not. She's been in an accident." The mother's next question was she alone? And when they said no, she was with her boyfriend Travis, the mom said, "She's dead, isn't she?" They said, "Yes, we're sorry to inform you she is dead." Then the mother said that she asked them, "How was Travis doing?" And they said, "Oh, he's fine." And the mother said that she responded with, "Of course he is." So it seems like the children, the mother, the father, they all knew that Travis was going to seriously hurt or kill their daughter and mother. But the police, for whatever reason, just did not want to prosecute or arrest, rather, Travis for this crime. And so the insurance company ruled it as dying due to Travis's negligence. So his insurance company paid, but let me tell you what they paid. They paid $100,000. That was all his insurance company paid, and they split that between Shannon's three children. They received $19,912.46 each, and the lawyer received $30,262. Now, that is the bulk of the evidence for the story that I found. And my sergeant had me and Trigger digging deep into this stuff, so I was doing a lot of that right before I came on here. So when I said small city, he know people. I'm with Robbie. Well, it's crazy to me that it got that bad without him going to jail, and I'm wondering if she would have lived and he would have went to court 2 weeks after, what would have happened then? There was a movie on Lifetime long time ago. I think I may have been a teenager or early 20s, but one of the girls from Facts of Life played on it. Well, anyway, it was based on a true story. And there was a situation, it was a small town, and she was married to this guy. And when I tell you, he beat her like a dadgum drum. I mean, and she went and, got a restraining orders and stuff like that, pretty much like Shannon did. And, she was constantly telling them she feared for her life or whatnot. And the police would come to the house sometimes when the neighbors would call, and they would hear the husband beating her in the house, and they would wait outside, for it to finish. And they were pretty much telling her that they couldn't do anything or wouldn't do anything, rather, because she was married. And so one day he was beating her extra, spookily, and the police pulled up and he had her outside. And these jokers were saying, "Okay, stop now, blah, blah, blah." He was stomping on her head, whole nine. They finally arrest him. Thank goodness she didn't die, but she lost all movement on the left side of her body, the whole nine. But I say all of that to say this. there are a lot of situations where these women are doing what all they feel they can do anyway to get out of bad situations, to steer clear of people that want to hurt them. And most times it's their spouses or an ex or something like that. And unfortunately, when all of that is going on, even when there is so much evidence against, the predator, it always goes back to where the woman is looked at as crazy for staying in the first place. I've heard different things where people say, "Oh, well, you should have left long before now." And if your parents figured that he could do that to you, why didn't they step in and do something? And a lot of times it's hard to really help somebody that doesn't want to leave, but it looks like Shannon actually wanted to leave. And with that, though, with her taking the restraining order off, what was it? She died in September. She took it off in May. 4 months, about 4 months, a little less than 4 months after she took it off, she was dead. Now, it's easy for us to think on the outside looking in, what would we do? How would we feel? And all of this. But I would think if I was in that situation and I was that deathly afraid, I can't see getting in a truck with the person driving like that. So then that makes me think, okay, was she forced in the truck? If she was forced in the truck, did anyone see? You know what I mean? Are there any witnesses to it? Robbie says small towns cover up things for certain people. I'm telling you, that man got connections. He definitely has something. I mean, to this day, he's a free man. He essentially killed his girlfriend and there was no punishment at all. His insurance paid a little bit of money and that was it. The most he got was his premiums went up. And the reason this case is still unsolved is because no one has been arrested. They just dropped it. They just said, okay, since she's no longer with us, since she's deceased, it is what it is. And it's crazy how you can let someone get away with murder because the victim is dead. I mean, it could have at least, at bare minimum, they could have at least closed the case by saying, okay, uh, I don't know what's the proper. I work with them jokers and still can't think of it. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. So I can't think of what the name is. But someone said it's solved. We all know who did it. Well, yeah, we know who did it, but he's sitting back eating Cheetos and drinking grape soda right now. What's going on, Scoot? Scoot said my daughter can't date because I'm not breaded up enough to deal with an idiot because he gotta go. Let me tell you something, brother. How can I say this? Um, there was a time where my son had a football game and my youngest daughter, I think I was taking her to the concession stand to get some popcorn. Robbie said they know who did it too. Yeah, they know it. But the man's eating ice cream and doggone buttered biscuits right now. So he definitely got away with that. But I was taking my daughter to get some popcorn and there was this girl. I mean, they kind of walked up around the same time. And I think, well, my daughter was 8, but the girl had to be about 12 years old. And we got up there and the girl, not politely, got right in front of my daughter. And the thoughts that went through my head just from that, I won't say, but I will say this with the thoughts that I had just from her getting, you know, cut in front of, I know a situation like this would be an extinction level event. because I just my heart goes out to the parents and the siblings and stuff like that. Could you imagine getting a phone call saying your sister or your daughter or your cousin was found on the side of the road dead, and you pretty much know that the boyfriend did it, and then you see that he's not being prosecuted, he's not being arrested, nothing is happening to him. He could still walk freely, he could still go to Denny's, he could still go to the county fair and all of that, but your family member is gone. Can you imagine the psychological turmoil that that is? And this case, it was a lot deeper than what I shared, but all I would have been sharing is just more things to let you know who actually did it. But in the end, I was so confused, and I'm still contemplating calling the department and asking them, you know, I just like to hear something more than just, oh, we're not going to pursue it because the woman is dead. Scoot said I couldn't handle it. I feel you, brother. I know for a fact I could. Lord, please don't put me through that. Robbie said I lived that. What do you mean, Robbie? Explain. You might be unsolved cases 3. But yeah, I don't even know. I don't know why I didn't look up the population in that town in Colorado. I'd like to know what the crime rate is too, because if they letting stuff like that go by, jokers probably be robbing banks and doing all kinds of stuff there. But I did see what they said. Travis is living a normal life. He has a good job. I can't remember where exactly they said he works, but he has a good job. He's started a new family now. Jeez, I don't know how anybody could deal with that, but it is what it is. But that's the case of Shannon Shebulz with a Z. Y'all, yeah, Scoot, he free, man. They decided not to pursue any legal action because Shannon is deceased. So if he hadn't killed her, I guess they would have, you know, prosecuted, arrested, or whatever the case may be. And I don't know if you were in here, Scoot, but he actually was supposed to go to court for assaulting her 2 weeks after, I guess I can say it, he killed her, after he killed her. But he wasn't charged. Robbie said, receiving a call that my close cousin is gone and they knew who did it, but the person remained free. That's ridiculous to me. Where was that at? Um, Robbie, that's crazy to me how something like that can happen and they can know who did it and the person remains free. But yet there are people that are incarcerated right now and they have no evidence on the person, no physical evidence. It's just someone said they did it and that's enough for them to lock someone up for 15 to 25 years. But you can have all this evidence. Guy was there. Okay, Robbie said it was in the Virgin Islands. All right, Scoot said that's backwards. You're right, it is. But now they don't need much. It's like everything is, they can pick and choose. No, Scoot, they were white. They were of Caucasian descent, and it was in Colorado. Robbie said St. Croix to be exact. That's why I don't know how I would be able to live in the same area. But Travis allegedly killed Shannon. All of the evidence points to him. But Colorado didn't seem to think that enough evidence could prosecute him. So, to all the investigators that are watching, if you want to contact Aurora, Aurora, Colorado, and kind of get some buttons pushed and see if they can prosecute or at least reopen the case, maybe Shannon's family c- can get some closure. Because I don't know if they still live in Colorado, but I know it would be pretty tough for me to continue to live there. And, my loved one went through that, and the person that allegedly did the crime is still walking free and drinking hot cocoa every December. Robbie said, I've been through some things. I just don't really share. Totally understandable. I mean, these things aren't easy to share. It isn't easy to tear the band aid off, so to say, on things that we haven't really suppressed, but we're trying to continue to move forward and live our lives as well. It's a very hard thing to discuss, and a lot of thoughts and memories that come up. It's like going through it all over again. But that was this week's unsolved case. I have another unsolved case for next week. If you guys run across something before, I'll say before Monday, if it's just really, it piques your interest and you would like for me to, investigate that and talk about that, then shoot me a message on YouTube, or you can hit me on Facebook too. Go and follow me on Facebook, Salid Sims, SALID, last name Sims with one M. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, King Shit Productions. I hope this case didn't make your hearts and minds too heavy, because it had me shook for a couple of days, because the sheer confusion of it with something happening like this. And then on top of that, I know you guys have been like me, seeing all of this um, Israel and Palestinian war and things going on like that. It's been a lot. I actually had to unfollow some people on Instagram because I just wasn't prepared to see a lot of the things that I saw. Um, and I tell you guys, same thing I tell myself: to protect your peace at all costs. But I will say this: stay prayed up, stay careful, stay mindful of what's going on around you. Do whatever you can do to protect you and yours. And if you can help somebody else, please do so. You guys know what this show is all about. It is never to tear anyone down, it is to build. It is to help men understand women better, to help women understand men better, and for all of us to build a solid foundation and something secure for our youth to be able to stand on and be great people. So continue to be who you are. Continue to expand your knowledge. Continue to feed your souls, and continue to watch King Shit Talk. I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Get your pens and pads out so you can do your investigating. And I believe Kev and I will be back on Saturday with Smooth Saturdays. Some things he wants to talk about. So that'll be Saturday at 9 o'clock. And I'll be back next Thursday at 8:30. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I'm about to let my head slam down on this pillow because I was tired, boss. And on a lighter note, I I made a post on Facebook about what I believe I was in a past life. And it got a lot of laughs, but I was doggone serious. I believe I was a country singing cowboy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna upload a lot of uh country songs that I wrote, little snippets, nothing too long, between 20 and 40 seconds long. but Imma upload them on SoundCloud. I might need to get with you on that too, Scoop, because I might put some, music to some of them. But it's just, I wanna lift the spirits of people because we need laughter. We need laughter, we need something fun, and so I'm gonna be uploading those. Imma try to create, like, 2 new ones a day, and Imma just upload them on SoundCloud, but I'll let you guys know when I start getting them up there, and hopefully it can brighten your day, make you laugh, and some of them 'em kinda catchy because 'cause I've been singing some of those old tunes, in my head all day long. So, we'll see where that goes. Swan is laughing. We'll see where it goes, but I think it'll be good to do some things like that. You know what I mean? And maybe it'll spark something in somebody else and y'all can do some jazz or some country or some rock and roll or hip hop or whatever the case may be, some R&B. I might redo some of my favorite R&B songs, but put my country twang on them. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. You guys mean everything to me because I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you guys. And a lot of you have been rocking with me since day one, and I truly appreciate you. Carla said, great idea. Appreciate you, Carla. I'm gonna let y'all know when I say I might upload some of them tomorrow. You'll get a kick out of it, I'm sure. But until I see you guys again, please be safe. Enjoy the rest of your week and keep pressing forward. See y'all later.